Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you lot are all doing well today, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to our Chelsea news. That's right, the daily series right here on Football Therapy, where I go across football news media, discuss what's being said about Chelsea Football Club, and give you my opinion on said topics. More importantly, asking for yours down in the comments section. Today I want to talk about Frank Lampard's comments on a few players, really. Well, a couple of players, pretty much talking about Edouard Mendy, confirming it himself, the transfer that we know is going to happen for a while now. No quarantine though, which is a huge plus. Also, Frank Lampard has said some stuff about Antonio Rudiger and Callum Hudson-Odoi, who will be starting later, who of course is a massive talking point at the moment. Thiago Silva came out and did a press conference for Chelsea and said some very impressive things indeed, and we can all be incredibly excited about the big Brazilian. And we can talk about the Barnsley game, maybe do a predicted lineup. Hell, why not? Let's do a predicted lineup. But today's video is brought to you by OneFootball. That's right, football is in full effect. You need to keep up with everything that's going on, and you can do that via the free experience that is the OneFootball app. You can follow your club team, your national team, get alerts, scores, fixtures, lineups, statistics, transfer news, absolutely everything you would ever want in terms of keeping updated with the beautiful game. Like I said, it's completely free. Click the link in the top of the description to go check out OneFootball now and do yourselves the favour. Alright then, let's get into it. So Frank Lampard did his pre-match press conference and he talked about a bunch of things. He was asked about Edouard Mendy and we were all expecting him to say, well, until it's officially done, I'm not interested in talking about other clubs' players. Probably the worst Frank Lampard impression ever, that. But no, he obviously planned it in his head and he was like, yes, I can tell you Mendy is doing the medical as we speak. And all being well, he is a Chelsea player. Ding, 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 ding. Kind of stuff we already expected, but the really positive and interesting thing about what he said about Edouard Mendy is he did also disclaim that he'd prefer for the journalist who asked this, I believe it was Liam Twomey, maybe, perhaps? Anyway, he asked he'd prefer you to double check with Premier League doctors, etc. But it was to Frank Lampard's understanding that provided Edouard Mendy passes his virus test, that he could go straight into the team and be available for selection against West Brom next weekend in the Premier League. And honestly, mate, because it's a goalkeeper, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets dropped straight in to play in that Premier League game. He'll get a few days training with the club, and really, to be honest, at first he'll probably be told, just save goals. Do what you do, mate. Just stay in the goal, claim balls, claim crosses, save it, and if you need to go long, just go long. We'll sort out the finer details later about the passing patterns in the first third and all that kind of stuff. But for the moment, just stand in goal and make saves. That would be a good start, please, Edouard. Let's go with that. So I wouldn't be so surprised if we saw him starting in goal next weekend. Positive news though. Anyway, let's move on. So of course, Thiago Silva did a press conference talking to the press about signing for Chelsea and generally being in England and, why perhaps he didn't extend for PSG. The option was there in the end. Leonardo, who he was suspected to have completely fallen out with and the bond was broken for no extension, did offer him said extension, but he had committed to the Chelsea project and is very excited to see what he could do here. Frank Lampard has made him feel really, really valued in this project, and it's pretty darn exciting, a lot of the stuff he came out and said. Naturally, Thiago Silva was questioned about how he's expected to help the youngsters, because he's a man of experience in the autumn years of his career, and he's pretty much said, look man, I'm at the top level, I'm super fit, I'm good to go, a couple of years at least, which is really nice. But he says, yes, with the youngsters, we got loads, I'm paraphrasing here by the way, there's loads of talented young players here at Chelsea. It's up to me to instill this winning mentality into the youngsters, because when you win, you are remembered, just like our coach, Frank Lampard. Ooh, the tingles, the feels. One legend talking about another legend about being winners and being remembered forever. Heavy stuff there, mate. Naturally, he was just very professional, said all the right things, but he really did say all the right things, and I'm very pleased to hear it being relayed by a translator. Still, excellent, he is learning English. If you follow his wife's Instagram story or his, you see him learning on the app, plus he will be getting lessons from the club, so he will learn the basic instructions to command people on the pitch, and hopefully he speaks English sooner rather than later. Will he speak French, French, Portuguese, and Italian from his time in Italy, so just add English to that list. Easy, right? Probably not. Anyway, we move. So Frank Lampard was questioned about Callum Hudson-Odoi, and this is a big talking factor in the Chelsea fan base at the moment. So I'm going to give my opinion on it and also let you know what Frank Lampard said. Firstly, me personally, I'm a massive Callum Hudson-Odoi fan. I was sort of told about him in the youth setup. I don't follow the youth team that closely, but I saw him as a 17-year-old playing for Chelsea. I saw his first goals and assists and stuff. I saw that game in the Europa League. I was at Stamford Bridge, right next to the goal. When he first got his goal, his assist, his celebration, I was on my feet applauding. I was telling my mate, who's not a Chelsea fan, about him, and he got to see firsthand how good he was, and I was really excited, and have been ever since, about Callum Hudson-Odoi's ability and his talent. Yes, we all know reportedly via Rob Green, he was an incredibly hard trainer under Maurizio Sarri, and people were baffled why he wasn't playing, especially considering when he was on the pitch, he was excellent. Now, you could argue under Frank Lampard, lately in certain times last season, his work off the ball wasn't very good. I can pretty much say that after watching him, and there was times where defensively he was poor. So with that, you can understand why he didn't start against Liverpool. When the game plan was to be resolute and hit on the break, you needed everyone to be pressing and defensively smart. So I get it. There's a reason why Callum Hudson-Odoi didn't start against Liverpool. But Frank Lampard has come out a few times and said, look, he needs to work harder. He needs to show why he wants to be in this team. You know, he needs to show why he's deserved to be in this team. And before anyone criticises these words from Frank Lampard, he said the same thing about big money signing Christian Pulisic, and it worked a treat. Christian Pulisic came out, he says, look, Frank Lampard's training has helped me so much, the way he arrives into the box, you know, scores these goals. He says it's helped me so much with my goal scoring, and subsequently he's had his best goal scoring season ever as a professional footballer under Frank Lampard, and he seems very happy with him. Frank Lampard seems very happy with Christian Pulisic, and he's making the same noises about Callum Hudson-Odoi, hopefully to attempt to achieve the same effect. Now, there is some divide between the Chelsea fan base thinking that he doesn't like Callum Hudson-Odoi, but the truth is, Frank Lampard loves Callum Hudson-Odoi. When he arrived at Chelsea, when he was announced the Chelsea manager, Frank said, look, first point of action is to make sure Callum Hudson-Odoi stays. Remember, this isn't some old Italian coach who doesn't have this connection. This is Frank Lampard, who knows a lot about Hudson-Odoi. His coaching assistants are Jody Morris and Joe Edwards. You know who those guys are with the academy? The whole coaching staff knows everything about Callum Hudson-Odoi, so trust me, they are well connected and they know everything about the kid. So yeah, that was his first port of call to make him stay. Callum Hudson-Odoi was interviewed on some YouTube media channels, and he said, he's the reason why I stayed. Frank Lampard. I spoke to him, and as soon as I'd spoken to Frank Lampard, that was it. I made the decision, I wanted to stay. So, mutual respect and understanding, and the reason why Callum Hudson-Odoi signed a new long-term deal at Chelsea. That was Frank Lampard. So there's no animosity there. It comes down to Callum Hudson-Odoi needing to prove to the whole coaching staff, which are a collective. Remember, Frank Lampard always consults Jody Morris and Joe Edwards. He says that, he's always maintained that, like, look man, we're a team here. Hudson-Odoi needs to convince the whole coaching staff that he can have this work ethic, replicate what Pulisic did, and hopefully flourish in the first team because of that. I was going to read out the statement that Frank Lampard did that was released at 10:30 PM last night, but essentially he said he can't promise that the likes of Antonio Rudiger and Callum Hudson-Odoi won't leave this summer. In the sense of Callum Hudson-Odoi, it will be on loan. There are reports suggesting that Bayern Munich would actually still be interested in taking Hudson-Odoi on a loan, which is interesting because maybe on that spell they'd probably try and convince him to stay and then put in a transfer request at Chelsea or something. I'm not so sure what their intentions would be if they literally would just want him for a loan and then give him back to Chelsea. It just seems very strange. Who knows, maybe a Premier League loan, but he's got like 120k a week wages. So there is that. What I wanted to basically talk about in this segment of the video is that Frank Lampard does value his talent. He just needs to now value his work ethic. The whole coaching staff does. And I really hope it works out because, like I said earlier in the video, I love Hudson-Odoi. Anyway, let's do a predicted lineup for the Barnsley game. Right, here's my starting 11 for Barnsley. I've gone for Willy Caballero in goal, Azpilicueta at right back. The centre-back partnership, I'm going for Tomori and Thiago Silva, who's good to go, reportedly. Left back, Ben Chilwell, I think is probably going to get a start here and start feeling his way into the Chelsea squad. Midfield, I can see Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Ross Barkley, and probably Jorginho as well to start. Right wing, I think Callum Hudson-Odoi will start on the right or left. Tammy Abraham up front, yet we still have space for another winger. It's going to have to probably be Mason Mount, isn't it? Because we don't actually have another winger. Hakim Ziyech isn't good to go yet. Pulisic's close apparently, but I can't imagine he's going to start. So I'll just put Mason Mount in the front three because he just doesn't run out of batteries. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below of my starting lineup. Subscribe to Football Therapy if you're new. Like the video to help me out. Enjoy the football. I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.